So today we're going to be talking about a way that you can focus all your efforts, your energy, and your activities on the 20% of the things that need to be done so that you can achieve 80% of the results. How's that sound? Wouldn't it be useful to have a tool that can help you stay on track to do the real important things that need to be done day to day, week to week, month to month, so that you can not only accomplish your goals, but you can crush your goals at the end of the year? Wouldn't that be cool? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. At Keller Williams, we have a tool. That tool is a focused tool that will help keep you on track to doing the most important things that need to be done every day before anything else gets done. What do you think life looks like when we focus and get all the important things done first, and then get all the other stuff that is kind of the filler stuff done last? I always tell, and I always observe and get to watch the top performing people around this country, and here's what they say. You spend a concentrated 3 hours a day doing the most important things you need to do, and then the rest of your day will just take care of itself. No stress, nothing more than follow through, servicing clients, following up, meeting needs, wowing people day to day, delivering on your promise, but not by sacrificing what needs to be done and what the most important thing is first. Doesn't that sound exciting? Well, today we're going to go into this. We're going to go into using this tool. And this is the thing. Our success is not measured necessarily by our results. Our success is measured by our activities. If we can keep our activities focused, doing the most important things we need to do, results automatically follow. Doesn't that sound cool? We can control our activities. We cannot always control the results. So the tool we have today for that is called a 411 Action Results Goal Worksheet. This is a tool that the most successful agents in Keller Williams use every day. In fact, it's broken down. It's broken down into what are we going to do this year? What are we going to need to accomplish this month to stay on track? And then what do we need to do each week to stay on track to accomplish what we need to accomplish this month and this year? It's broken down into what is my job? What are my activities? What's the job of a top agent? What is my business? What are my business goals? At the end of the year, how much money, how much personal money do I need to be making and hitting my goals, to fund the things I want to fund in my life? And what are my personal goals? How do I want to grow physically, spiritually, professionally? How do I want to grow through my education? And it's all broken down. It's kind of like having your life on one sheet of paper that you can track, you can stay focused on, and you can commit the right activities every day before you do anything else. Sound like something you're interested in? Let's get going. All right. So we're gonna use an illustration today called Top Agent. So your name is Top Agent. Here's what top agents do. Top agents have goals for the number of listings. They have goals for the amount of time they're going to spend setting listing interviews. They have goals for the amount of time they're going to follow up with leads and prospects. And they set goals for the time they're going to send, following up with texts and emails and capturing and connecting with all the leads that come in. And this is all set up in the job. So the first thing you might want to have down in terms of a goal would say, top agent says, I want to take 200 listings this year. So that you draw the line in the sand and you say 200. If you don't see yourself doing that and you see yourself doing 100 listings, you write 100. The number's not important. What's important is this process, okay? So I've got 200 listings. That's my job. That's what I want to do every day. So now let's go to the month. The month is August 2012. So how many months is that from January? That's 8 months, right? August is 8 months. If I have a 200 listing goal, here's what I do. I divide it by 10. And I basically plug that number in each month. Now, why do I plug in 10? I plug in 10 because if you think about the amount of days that we actually have to work, minus holidays, vacations, interruptions, sickness, everything that we have, I would assume that it would be a very beneficial thing to start operating on a 10-month activity window rather than trying to fool ourselves into thinking that we actually do 12 months. Is that fair? So the other reason 10 is so important is because it actually, if you're hitting your goals at 10, where are you in actuality when it comes to 12? You're way ahead of your goals. Okay? All right, so 200 divided by 10 is 20. And it's 8 months. So 20 times 8 means that if I'm on track, I should have 160 listings. Okay? Listing interviews, excuse me. So let's say that I have 130 listing interviews. So I'm tracking what I actually did versus what my goal is. As you can see, I'm 30 listing interviews behind. So how do I now make that up? How do I set myself up to increase my activity so that I can get back on track to hitting my goal? Well, let's go to the week. Now, August happens to have about 3 or 4 days in beginning of the week, but for purposes of this, we've broken it into 4 weeks. Each one of these dates ends on a Friday, and the reason for that is that accounts for the weekend before and then all your follow-up throughout the week. So, my job now is I'm at negative 30 listing interviews. So if I take 30 and divide it into 4 weeks, I really come up with 7 or 8, but I'm going to start with 8. So that means this week I need to do 8. I need to do 8 listing interviews this week. So the problem is this week though, I only did 6. So my next week is 8, but I'm -2. So guess what? My goal next week is 10. And guess what? I do 10. So I've got 10 listing interviews this week. That's a good, strong week, right? That's more than 1 a day. So now I'm caught up. So what's my goal now that I'm caught up? My goal is back to 8. But here's what happens. I only do 6 because I've been busy. So now I'm -2. Now this one is 8 minus 2. That means this goal is 10. And guess what? I busted and hit 10. And this is how you track your goal versus your activity week to week to get caught up to your monthly goal so you're on track. And that's how you do it. And you just take this along everything that you do. So let's take one more job activity. And let's say we're going to do 300 hours calling to set up listing interviews. 300 hours. Now, in the MREA book, it's 3 hours a day. This isn't 3 hours a day. This is 1 hour a day calling. And we can even break it down. We can break it down to 1 hour a day following up, 1 hour a day doing correspondence, getting out marketing, doing whatever we want, as long as that time is spent generating business. So, same thing. I've got 300 hours. I divide by 10. That's 30 hours. I'm at 8 months. So 8 times 30 is I should be at 240 hours for the month. I'm at 240 hours at the month calling, making appointments. But guess what? I'm only tracking 200. I'm 40 behind. I'm 40 behind for the month. So 40 divided by 4 weeks is 10. So now I've got to do 10. But guess what? I do 6. So I'm 4 behind on the month. So guess what my next goal is? Excuse me. I'm at 10, but I only do 6. So next month, what's my job? I've got to do 4. So now my goal is 14. I've got to spend 14 hours. And guess what? I do it because I'm focused. I get back on focus. I catch up. Now it's 10 again. And let's say I do 8. So the next week, it's 12. 2 hours plus 10 is 12. And guess what? I hit 12. Guess what? Now I'm back on track for my monthly goals. Do you see how this focus tool can help you stay on track with the most important thing? And if I'm doing that, this is the 20%. This is the fuel that drives my business. And we can go through other things. Some of the things are follow-up, and then obviously written correspondence and marketing, 33 touches, all those kinds of things. We can break this down. I recommend that you don't have any more than 5 tactics and strategies for each category of job, business, personal, financial, and personal. No more than 5 for each. Another point, this is not a to-do list. This is about getting the critical things done. All right, so if I do that, based on MREA numbers, I will then be able to set a goal of 50 saleable listings. 50. So now that's my annual goal. So you see here, it's the activity, and then what shows up under business is the result of the activity. Okay? So if I get 50 listings, I might as well just go ahead and go for it, because we know the numbers. The numbers are, if you get 50 listings, you're going to get 50 buyers. You know, so you're going to get 50 buyer contracts. So now I've broken it down, 50 listings and 50 buyers. So let's just stick with listings for now for purposes of this. So 50 listings divided by 10 is 5. Times 8 is how much? 40. So by August, I should have 40 listings. But I don't have 40, I only have 32. I haven't hit. I'm close, but I'm not quite there. So if I have a goal of 5 listings a month, and I've got 8 deficit, now I'm at 13. 13 divided by 4 is 4 plus 1 for 5. So guess what? My business now is, instead of trying to ignore this, I add 8 plus the 5 is 13, and I divide it by 4 weeks. So the first week I'm going to set my goal a little higher. I'm going to say it's 5. So my goal is 5. Guess what? I only get 4. So I'm down 1. So what does that do to the next week? Well, next week my goal is 6. And guess what? I get 6. So the next week, guess what? It's 4 to stay on track. Let's say I get 2. Well, guess what? I'm minus 2. So over here, my new goal is 6. And I'm a super stud, superstar, super salesperson, and I get 6, and now I'm back on track for my business results. And that is how the process works. Okay? Okay, so you've heard about the process of staying on track, but here's the most important aspect of this tool. This tool helps you stay in touch with your big why. If we don't have a big why, then what happens is, when things start to get in the way, road bumps happen, points of turbulence, we can easily lose track. We can easily lose momentum in terms of staying focused on what we need to do. So it's really important that we're in touch with that big why. Here's what we do with that. We put the big why under 2 things: personal financial and personal, spiritual, physical, emotional, just professional growth. So these 2 things really are more important and more compelling than the business activities themselves. Wouldn't you agree? Why are we doing this? So if I'm getting 50 listings sold and I'm getting 50 buyers sold at an average sales price, at an average commission of $5,000, guess what my personal gross is going to be? My personal gross is going to be $500K. Make sense? So if again, do you remember what it would be through 8? Well, through 8, you would need to be at 400K. I've done the math already. So where would and if let's say that I'm behind on units, but let's say I am on track with money. I'm on track with my money, but behind on units. I have to make a personal decision. Do I want to be disciplined on the units closed, or will I be satisfied with the money? What do you think Gary Keller would say to that? Just food for thought. Okay, of course I don't know when he was ever satisfied. So now I'm on track, and now my next month is I want to be on track for another 100K. Divided by 4, that would be 25K. And then if I do 25K, I'm good. Then my next month is 25K, but I only do 10K, so I'm not good. So now it's 25 plus 15. My new goal is 40K. Let's say I hit it. We are good. My next goal is 25K, but I don't hit it. I'm 10K. Guess what? That carries over into the next month. That just gets added on. Now, I want you to notice something. This is number 1. This is number 1 in this category. And then in this category, this is number 1. This is number 1. This is number 1. And this is number 1. So all the number 1s in that category line up. The way you know you're on track is start backwards and go, 25K, 40K, 25K, 25K, and does that equal 400K? Does that get you back on track for 400K? So you can work this form backwards to make sure that you're doing everything you can to hit the ultimate goal of 500K. Here's the beauty of this. These are results based on all this stuff. So now let's move to personal. So let's say, this is what I see a lot on goal sheets. I see, I want to lose 25 pounds. Well, that's not really, that's kind of a negative goal. Here's what I suggest you put down. Put down what you want to weigh so that you can visualize it. So let's say for me, my goal might be 210. I want to weigh 210 pounds. Well, right now, in my personal, I should be at 215, but guess what? I'm at 225. I'm 10 pounds behind. So down here, I've been setting an activity workout goal for 35 minutes on the treadmill at 0.4 or 4.0, and I've been doing it at a 2-degree angle. So now I've got to catch up. So guess what? I've got to move that angle now to 10 degrees. I've got to up my speed to 4.4, and guess what? I've got to start eating 500 calories less. So what I have to put down in personal is I've got to focus on 10 more minutes, and I've got to eat 500 less calories every week. I've got to focus and start counting my calories. That way I can get back on track to hitting my target weight. Okay? So, under the personal, why do I want to weigh 215 pounds? What's important about 215? Guess what? Down here, it's because I want to snowboard with my kids. I'm so tired of those kids taking off and going out on the snowboard, and I can't go with them because I'm so overweight that when I fall off the snowboard, I can't get up. At 215, I'll be able to stay up with them. Guess what that does? That warms my heart and that tickles my spirit. And that is part of my big why. That's why I want to weigh 215. So I've got that down here. So you start making notes. Part of these notes too are what gets in the way. I weigh 215, guess what? Maybe I should stop going out on Tuesday nights to the wing place and ordering 3 dozen honey mustard hot wings instead of, maybe 6. So I can start getting tracked. I could just even write down here, no, wings. I don't want to do wings anymore. I could do all that stuff. No ranch dressing. Whatever I want to remind me of all the triggers and all the things I'm doing that will get in the way of where I want to be. It's important to know the timing of how and when to work this tool. And what I would say to you is, and this is it's a little bit up to how you want to do it, but the way I do it is I kind of cut my week off somewhere at 1 o'clock or mid-afternoon on Friday. And then I take the time to review this. And if it's one of my coaching call times, then my coach has this, and my coach and I go over this together. You see, 20% of our results come from knowing what to do. 80% of our results come from being held accountable to do it. And this is the tool that I give my coach. This is the tool that my coach uses and has been using it for over 15 years with me. Needless to say, it's really helped bring focus into my life. Okay, so on Friday afternoon, I go through this, and many times I'm going through it with my coach. And if I miss it or I get jammed on Friday, then I simply review it early Saturday morning when I'm, sipping my first little cup of coffee at 6:30 in the morning on Saturday morning. It's important, and John Maxwell says this. He says he spends 30 to 40% of his time thinking about thinking. This is the tool to make sure that we're thinking about the things that we've accomplished this week, and it helps us focus and think about what we've got to get done next week to stay on track to accomplish the things that are most important to us, not only professionally, but more importantly, for our big why personally. Thank you.